Hello and welcome, everyone. Delighted to have each and every one of you here. The conversation today is truly about getting your questions answered. So many of you submitted questions ahead of time. I think we've done a good job of building those in, and we'll be addressing those. And of course, we invite additional questions all the way through. So whatever you want to know, I will monitor my chat box, and I will also monitor the question panel. So just get your questions up there. Let me know what you want to know so that we make sure we get you the information you're looking for. And a note for you, because you're investing your time exploring, checking this out, we want to give back to you. So at the end of the conversation, I have something for you. Diving in, the agenda for this session will define coaching and the journey to becoming a coach. Many people had questions about ICF and the requirements, etc. So we'll go through all of that. We'll share some statistics and insights with you, let you know what's going on in the professional world. We're going to walk through the Center for Coaching Certification Staircase to Success. It's a great way to understand how a coaching relationship is built and developed. And then we'll also go through what the process looks like. Now, there are many different processes, so we're going to give you a main process. And of course, there's lots of flexibility with it. We'll talk pros and cons of certification. Of course, I want to say it's all pros. And I know the value learning coaching has brought to me in all areas of my life. It affects relationships with family and friends and colleagues, as well as being a career path. So we will talk about, yes, there are cons. We get that. We'll talk about the reasons people choose certification at the Center for Coaching Certification, what to look for in a training program wherever you decide to go. And of course, we want you to come with us. And we got that people are investigating. So a couple of helpful hints of things to pay attention to. We'll talk about opportunities for you as a coach, and of course, give you information on the programs that we offer. Some people had questions on time and money commitments, and we're definitely going to cover that too. So diving in, we're going to start with the definition of coaching, and this comes from the International Coaching Federation. The word choice is fabulous, so pay attention to that. Coaching is partnering. And what's significant about that word partnering is when you think about hiring a professional, whether it's an attorney, a financial planner, a doctor, whatever it is, you see them as the expert. They're the ones with the answers. You're going to them, expecting them to tell you. Coaching is different because in coaching, we hold the client as their own best expert. The coach is there as a partner with the process. And it goes on to say, partner with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process. That's what's fun about it, that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. And it truly does have a powerful, positive impact on people. I mentioned this definition comes from the International Coaching Federation. So who are they? What are they? Many of you probably already know. For those who don't, it is a nonprofit organization made up of coaching professionals. They are the gold standard in the world of coaching. This is where our code of ethics comes from. Members of the International Coaching Federation are accountable to that code of ethics. This is also where standards come from. They have standards specifically for accrediting coach training programs, which is the number one thing to be looking for. They have standards for membership, how many training hours you have to have, standards for credentialing. And we're going to walk through those as well. So very specifically, if you want to be a member of the International Coaching Federation, they require you to have 60 hours of coach-specific training. Then, if you want to earn the ACC credential, it is the same 60 hours. And in addition to that, they also require you to have 100 hours of experience coaching your clients. They want you to work with a mentor coach for 10 hours. And that process truly supports you and your application of the coaching competencies, as well as the journey to earning the credential. During the mentor coaching, ideally it's happening there. Some places it's separate, but you will be assessed coaching a client, and it's done by having you submit a recording and a transcript. Then when all of these things are complete, you can apply to ICF for the credential. They'll verify everything and invite you to take the exam. When you pass the exam successfully, that's how you earn that ACC credential. For the PCC credential, it's 125 hours of training, so a little more than double, 500 hours of coaching experience, 10 hours working with a mentor coach. And in this case, you're being assessed and you must have 2 different coaching sessions that pass at the PCC level. When these steps are complete, you apply. They invite you to take the exam. And when you pass that, that's how you earn your PCC credential. A note for all of you, very specifically, to earn your MCC credential, you must have your PCC first, and you must hold it for 3 years before you can move on to the MCC. For that reason, we're going to focus on the first 2 levels of credentialing. To give you an analogy, becoming a member of ICF is much like saying you've earned a 2-year associate's degree. Earning your ACC credential is much like saying you've earned a degree. Earning your PCC credential is much like saying you've earned a master's degree. Oftentimes people say, okay, which one is right for me? Clearly, the PCC credential takes more time, more, obviously you're investing in more training. So it is a longer process. People that go for the PCC credential are commonly coaching high-level leaders, executives, etc. People that go for the ACC credential are commonly coaching individuals who are paying for the coach themselves. It's a little bit less expensive for them to work with an ACC coach. And so life coaching, career coaching, those areas, that's where you more often see someone with the ACC credential. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea and starts to answer some of those questions. And of course, please feel free if you have more. Then, to give you an idea of what the journey looks like at the Center for Coaching certification, we've got this illustration. So whatever credential you decide you want to pursue, you do start with the Certified Professional Coach program. It's an initial 30 hours, fabulous foundation in coaching, and it's a skill set you'll use in everything you do. Now, sometimes people say, okay, wait a minute, that's half the hours for ICF membership. And what's the reason there's a certification there? Well, here's the bottom line. If you're moving toward a credential, you have to start logging coaching experience hours. ICF doesn't accept any coaching you do before you start your coach training. And when you start putting yourself out there as a coach, you want to have some credibility in terms of who you are and what you're offering. That means to you that if you complete this class, you want to get started coaching, you register for this class, and you're taking that class while you're getting started coaching, and you're starting to log your coaching hours. When you're registered for these classes, it means you can join ICF, because to join as a member, you either have to complete the 60 hours or be registered to complete the 60 hours. What that means is that when you earn the Certified Professional Coach certificate and you're enrolled to continue with the next level, you'll be able to start coaching and you'll be able to start logging those coaching hours. And you'll be able to say to people, I'm a certified professional coach and I'm a member of ICF. And that gives you some credibility as a coach. If you're going to go for the ACC credential, after you complete these first 2 programs, and you're logging your hours, of course. The next one that you'll be on is the mentor coaching. During the mentor coaching, you will be assessed on your recording of yourself coaching a client, and you've got to pass at the ACC level. So if it takes a couple of recordings, that's okay. We're going to get you there. When those steps are completed, you apply to ICF for the credential. They'll invite you to take the exam. And when you pass that, that's how you earn the ACC. If you decide you're going to the PCC credential, again, you complete these initial programs. You start coaching right away after you finish this first 30-hour program. You continue your training, you're logging your coaching hours. You go on to the next class, which is the Certified Advanced Coach. Think about it this way. When you go to college, you take all the basics, you get all the foundational classes out of the way, then you declare your major and you start taking classes that are very specific to what you're doing. Well, that's going to be set up for you here with this program, where you start focusing in particular on an area where you want to be coaching. Then there is the coaching experience class. The mentor coaching, of course, is going to be part of this program. And during the mentor coaching, you're working on having 2 recordings pass at the PCC level. Complete those, you'll apply to ICF. They'll invite you to take the exam, and successfully passing that is how you earn that PCC credential. This diagram is intended to illustrate the journey to each of the credential levels through the Center for Coaching certification, earning the credential from ICF. I will share with you that this diagram is on the website, so you can come back and look to it there and ask questions. All right, next up, this is also on the website. This shows you the time and money. Very specifically, if you decide that you want to earn the ACC credential, this cohort right here, which is called the foundational cohort, includes the 3 programs that you're required to have to earn that ACC credential. Then the level 2, the advanced cohort, includes everything that's required to earn the PCC credential. You may notice you do have the option of taking partial hours. Sometimes people do this because then what happens is they can manage both time and money in terms of going through completing programs and moving toward that credential level. I do have more slides on this again, and this exact grid is on the website. So everything is there for you. I'm going to keep us going and get into more information for you. So a couple of quotes. PricewaterhouseCoopers cited coaching as the world's 2nd fastest growing sector, IT being first. Forbes magazine, I love this quote. Do you have a coach? If not, you could be limiting your career success. And I think it's backed up by the research. At Amoco, now owned by British Petroleum, they evaluated coaching over a 10-year period of time. And this is what they found. The people that had a coach demonstrated improved performance, increased ratings of potential for advancement, and 50% higher average salary increases. That's phenomenal. And the people that worked with the coach that had these results attributed the results to working with the coach directly. That's an exciting insight and study. I love the longevity of it. Dennison Consulting cites coaching as the organizational development tool of choice for leaders and emerging leaders. When you think about companies hiring coaches, what are their reasons? What's motivating them? Well, top reason, according to Harvard Business Review, is to develop high potentials or facilitate transition, leadership transitions, other changes going on. 26% of the time, the coach is there to act as a sounding board. Now, we see that most often with your senior executives, C-suite, etc. They're fully capable of figuring out a plan for themselves. having a coach creates an opportunity for them to think out loud and have somebody that's going to expand that thinking and challenge that thinking, supports their effective decision making, and of course, how they're following through. Now, way back early on in coaching, people used to think, oh, you get a coach because there's a problem. Not really. It's too big of an investment. At the same time, in companies, when they have somebody that they say, hey, this person's a good employee, we want them to be successful, something's getting in the way, they will bring in a coach to support that person being successful. Now, an interesting insight came out of this study. Very specifically, 76% of the time when coaches are working with people in the workplace, they're also addressing personal issues. And sometimes people are surprised by that, and it does make sense. Think about it. What's happening is whatever's going on in their world, it does come to work with them, and it affects them on the job. It affects their performance. So when they have the opportunity to work with the coach and address those personal issues, it means when they're at work, they can truly focus on work. So it absolutely is happening and does make sense. In terms of individuals, whether they hire the coach themselves or their company brings in a coach for them, what are their reasons for engaging in coaching? Well, the number one reason is to improve communication skills. And then close behind that, you've got two reasons. One is improving their work-life balance, and the other is increasing self-esteem or self-confidence. So those are the close second in terms of reasons people want to work with a coach. And right behind that, you have optimizing either their individual performance or their teams and increasing productivity. From there, it goes into expanding career opportunities. And then you see improving business management strategies and increasing well-being. A little bit further behind that is accelerating their onboarding into a new professional role. You do have people that went through a career change because of the pandemic. And I'm guessing that that number will start fading away as they continue doing this research study. Hopefully the next one's coming out soon. Fortune magazine said business coaching is attracting America's top CEOs. And I know that's a US-centric quote. We have people here from all over the world. The reason is because it works. And the average return on investment, the payback basically for what the company spends on coaching is over 600%. And that tells us something. It really is a worthwhile investment for the organization. It just makes sense. A couple of studies that are, well, actually, this first one is probably one of them that Fortune magazine looked at, commonly cited Metrics Global, and they said, coaching produced a 529% ROI. And when they added in the financial benefits from employee retention, talent retention, the ROI jumped to 788%. Phenomenal. Now, a completely different look at the impact was looking at productivity. A go-to for a long, long time in organizations has been to do training, and that will increase productivity 22.4%. When you combine coaching with training, the productivity gain is quadrupled. It's 88%. So it's phenomenal. That research was done by Public Personnel Management. And in conjunction with that, there was a study done by Xerox, and they said, if you do training and you don't do follow-up coaching, you're going to lose 87% of what you gained in terms of skills change. So it absolutely makes sense in organizations. If they're investing in training, they're going to want to invest in coaching. How do they select a coach? According to Harvard Business Review, the top two things considered when someone is choosing a coach are experience in a similar setting. They want to know you understand their world. It doesn't have to be the same. It has to be similar. And they want to know you have a clear methodology. Now, the experience you have, you've already got that. You bring that to the table. The clear methodology, that's what you want out of a training program. So let's talk about building the coaching relationship. And we're comparing that to building a staircase. When you build the staircase, the first thing you're going to do is put your framework in place. When you're going to build a coaching relationship, same concept, put your framework in place. What is that framework? Well, of course, it starts with training. That's true of any profession out there. And in training, you're developing your competency for the specific work you're doing. And of course, learning the ethics for your profession. So very, very important to have all of that in place when you start coaching. Once you have your framework, you're ready to start building steps. So the first step in building a coaching relationship is the agreement. Initially, you have a conversation with someone about what coaching is and is not. When you're moving forward into an engagement, you have a formal agreement for that engagement. And then when you're doing a coaching session, every single session, you're coming to agreement in terms of what the client wants to accomplish, what they want to talk about in that coaching session to achieve what they want. With that in place, it is incumbent on the coach to understand the client, who they are, how they think, how they process, how they function, understand their culture, their context, because it influences the way they think, the way they interact, and it, of course, influences choices. With the understanding in place, then you're going to develop rapport. You're creating a safe environment for the client to have these coaching sessions, these conversations. They know that they can look at, okay, you've got training, you've got your ethics, your competency. Okay, that's a trust builder. It supports getting to that rapport when you have that agreement and you support it. And then, of course, take the time to truly understand the client. All of that serves to develop rapport. Rapport is incredibly significant. It is the number one indicator of success in a coaching relationship. So very, very important. With the rapport in place, you're truly opening up the communication. And the communication includes the listening. In coaching, we listen at a completely different level. It's cumulative. We listen for themes and patterns over time. We listen to what's said and to what's not said, the emotion and the energy behind it. Communication also includes the way we say what we say. Very specifically, being clear, direct, and respectful with clients. The third component of communication that you really want to focus on is questions. Coaching questions are completely different than any other type of question, and how you formulate those coaching questions is a very important part of your training. Then you move into exploration, because you're asking those coaching questions, supporting the client explore. They consider their opportunities, their possibilities, their potential barriers, their resources. And through that exploration, they develop their own strategy for how they want to move forward. And they're moving to that doorway called success, with success being defined by the client. Okay. Let's talk about the process itself. In coaching, it is a common best practice to offer an introductory session. This is a mini coaching session, 20, 30 minutes, so the client can have a sense of what coaching is like, how it works, and they get to know the coach gets to know the client. You're deciding, hey, is this going to be a good working relationship? When you say, yes, it is, you want a really great intake process. And for that intake process, that's your opening of the engagement. How are you setting that up? Having a big picture exploration of what the client wants in all different areas. And the value of that is there are many influencing factors for them, and there are many competing priorities. So it brings clarity for that. And then, of course, in that intake process, you want to support the client with a tool so that they stay focused on their own goals and objectives, they build their confidence, and they stay fully engaged. On an ongoing basis, it is the client who is prioritizing what they want to focus on. They are the ones who are developing their strategies and their action plans. And of course, part of what happens in coaching is supporting the client to notice their progress and their successes along the way. It serves to motivate them as they continue going. The average coaching relationship lasts 12 months, sometimes longer, sometimes less, whatever it is. When you are moving to that place, it is important that the coach is working with the client for the long term. How will they maintain what they've achieved during the coaching engagement and continue to build on it for the long term? And when you do a closing session, while we call it a closing session, the client is evaluating what they gained from the coaching, etc. You also are letting them know the door is going to be open. When coaching serves them again, they're welcome to come back, and they often do, sometimes months later, sometimes years later. In terms of certification, pros and cons, I mentioned, we'll talk about it. Let's look at this. How much does it matter? Well, here's what the research said. Anyone who's had a coach, okay, 45% of them think the credential is very important, and an additional 40% felt it was important. So 85% of coaching clients see important or very important for that credential. For people who would consider coaching, you've got 34% saying it's very important and 44% saying it's important. So you've got 78% of people that would consider coaching, saying that a credential is important or very important. So the numbers are clear in that regard. In terms of people's satisfaction with the experience of coaching, again, it's making a difference. And you can see the research on this. Yes, anyone can call themselves a coach, and more people are learning. You really want to ask what the coach's training is, what their experience is, because if somebody says, oh, I don't need to do that, the message is, I don't care about what I'm doing as a professional. So what's the experience? Well, it goes up when people have the credential. Of those who knew their coach had a credential, 55% were very satisfied, another 37% satisfied, somewhat satisfied. If they didn't know, they weren't sure whether or not the coach had a credential, which is interesting to me. 27% said they were very satisfied. You can see the difference in the numbers there. 49% somewhat satisfied. So very significant in terms of people are thinking about coaching or who work with a coach. In terms of the straight out pros and cons of getting certified above and beyond what your clients care about, there's two key cons, and these are going to be true for most of us: time and money. If it weren't for the investment of time and money into becoming a coach, everybody would do it. So yes, those are the big cons. On the pro side, it's an opportunity to advance your own career. There are many jobs that request or require coach training, especially in areas of HR, talent development, org development, etc. And increasingly, coaching is expected as a skill for leaders, anyone in a leadership capacity. What that means is people that have coaching certification are advancing their career, both because they have the skill sets and because they want to demonstrate, be able to say on their resume that they have that skill set. Of course, it's also an opportunity for having your own business. Some people do it as a part-time thing. Some people add it in as a service. Some people do it full-time. Others do it as what we like to call an after career. So whatever your interest is, obviously it's going to make a difference in terms of putting yourself out there and having the credibility of it. The reason people choose certification at the Center for Coaching Certification, here's what they tell us. Number one, credibility. And I'll show you some things that you can look at to help know, okay, is this credible? The next thing, they love the tools they receive. Many during the program and many after as well. We do a lot to support graduates. That ongoing support is a big thing people care about. The professional development opportunity out of it, being able to use the credit hours to renew other professional designations as well, plus have that coaching certification on their resume, supporting them in their career if they're doing something other than coaching. And then, of course, it makes sense if you're going to be a coach. Personal development is big. We gain so much in terms of skills that matter for us in our daily life. And then we also, every graduate receives an assessment dashboard. And from that dashboard, you can give assessments at wholesale, which is great, and manage that. So you've got immediate access to be able to give assessments as soon as you graduate, which is nice. All right. In terms of things to really think about, time and money. At the Center for Coaching Certification, we put together different programs to make up the hours that are required for your credential. And yes, you can do them a la carte. So there's 30-hour programs, 35-hour programs, and the mentor coaching. When you look at your options, if you see a program that is less than 60 hours, keep in mind that these 30-hour programs are considered partial hours of the complete program, that a la carte option. If the training program to earn a credential, the minimum number of hours is 60. So if the school doesn't offer at least 60 hours, they're probably not accredited. You'll also see programs that take years and years, commonly like a university program or that kind of thing. Location across the board. At the Center for Coaching Certification, we do programs online. Absolutely finding that people love it because it means that the others in the class with you are very international. So it's a wonderful for the discussions and the perspectives that come out during class discussions, which is fabulous. So available online, we do use Zoom. And then we also do private groups, so inside organizations, etc. In terms of cost, so I've got the a la carte rates here. When you see the really short programs that aren't accredited, you're going to see they're very inexpensive. There's a reason. When you see university programs, that kind of thing, yeah, really easy to invest in that university education. The a la carte program pricing, the 30-hour programs are $19.95. The 35 hours are $21.95. And then the mentor coaching is $21.95. For those of you who want to do a credential, we do have options for you. So the foundational cohort, which is level 1 to earn the ACC credential, includes 65 hours of training plus the mentor coaching, and it's $58.90. Now, if you decide you then want to go from the ACC level on to the PCC level, you can sign up for, we call it the growth cohort, where you're taking what training hours you already have and you're building on them with the additional required hours and mentor coaching to go to the PCC level. Alternatively, a start to finish level 2, earn your PCC credential. We call it the advanced cohort. That's your level 2. It includes all of the programs, training hours, mentor coaching, etc. So everything's there and very clear and upfront in terms of the pricing. As far as knowing, okay, how do I know if this is a good program, that kind of thing? There's a couple of things you can look for. First off, when you go to someone's website, you want to look for the level 1 and level 2 logos. These are from the International Coaching Federation. If you're not seeing those on the website, yeah, that's probably not going to be the right thing to do. Those are extremely important. You want to make sure it's accredited training. Now, it used to be, if you happen to have been looking into coaching for a period of time, ICF used to give out what they called the ACTP and the ACSTH accreditations. Those are no longer there, which means if you're seeing those logos, there's something to be concerned about because those logos don't exist anymore. What else can you look for? Oh, a couple of bragging points. So in addition to being accredited by the International Coaching Federation for both level 1 and level 2, we are also accredited by the international accreditors for continuing education and training. And what that means is that the credit hours from the programs can be used to renew other designations. For example, the Society for Human Resource Management automatically accepts the credit hours we provide because of that IACET accreditation. We have people that have designations from ATD, HRCI. We've had attorneys, financial planners, nurses. We've had mental health professionals, all kinds of people, all walks of life, use the credit hours to renew other designations because of that particular logo, that IACET accreditation. In addition to that, by the way, many universities and colleges also accept the IACET credit hours. So that's a good thing to look for. It is for us a bragging point. It's not normal for coach training schools to have the IACET accreditation. So it's definitely a standout. ICF is really intentional about looking at the content of the program and making sure that you're actually teaching people competencies and developing them as a coach. IACET is all about how you design your program, deliver your program, evaluate it, improve it, support your students, etc. So really nice to have that accreditation there too. On top of that, you can look for the ACTO logo. ACTO is the Association of Coach Training Organizations. These are schools that train coaches and they're members at ACTO. It tells you, yeah, we care about who we are as professionals and we keep engaging. And then on top of that, another bonus one is we're also accredited by the Association of Image Consultants International. This is because a lot of people in that world benefit from the coach training, and it absolutely goes hand in hand with the other things they're doing. Another thing that's helpful to note is who's in the program. At the Center for Coaching Certification, we're seeing a lot of people that are very sophisticated, so educated, experienced, etc. We're also seeing people from these organizations that are renewing their other credentials too. ATD, SHRM, HRCI, FPA, Financial Planners Association, the National Small Business Administration, of course, AICI, ICF, and IACET, because people understand what those accreditations mean. We see a lot of mental health professionals, consultants, and project managers as well. And ultimately, it's people who truly have a passion for empowering others. In terms of the training, one of the things you want to make sure is happening is that you are developing the core competencies for being a coach. Some programs do a great job of that, and you really want to seek that out. There are 8 core competencies. They're organized in 4 different areas. And what I can tell you is our entire program is designed to truly develop these competencies in you, which in turn supports you when you're being assessed coaching. It supports you when you take the exam, etc. So very intentional about supporting you in developing the core competencies for being a coach. Who's going to benefit from certification? Yeah, I think I said it before. I want to say everyone. Absolutely everyone benefits from coach training because of the skills you gain. So people from all walks of life. Gallup poll said 86% of employees think their bosses are uninspiring. And Harvard Business Review says coaching is integral to the fabric of a learning culture, and it's a skill that good managers at all levels need to develop and deploy. These are examples of the reason learning coaching is so valuable in terms of advancing your career. In terms of personal skill development opportunities, you're learning and elevating your communication skills. And I'm going to say elevating because most people that come to coach training have really good communication skills. This is taking it to the next level. People skills, recognizing different styles and knowing how to flex to them. And then the way goals are set, how they're defined, how they're managed really makes a difference. In terms of doing coaching as a profession, whether you're going to do it part-time or full-time, a lot of people have questions. Okay, what is the potential here? So the range, and these numbers are US dollars, so you can translate that much like you translate your own currency into US dollars. Another way to look at it is if you think about what people pay for someone that does counseling or therapy, it's going to be the $100 to $200 range. And then your really high-end consultants, you're moving on up in that. Now, the median rate is $500. That's the research from ICF. I like to break this down. Career coaching, life coaching, the wellness coaching where it's private pay by individuals tends to be in the $100 to $200 range. When you're talking business coaching, you're more the $200 to $400 range. And then when you're working with leaders and executives, it's $400 and up, all the way up as far as that goes. So that gives you an idea. In terms of spending on coaching, it's projected that by 2027, people will be spending $125.1 billion US dollars. That's phenomenal. Coaching is continuing to grow. There's so much happening. As of August of this year, the International Coaching Federation had 58,205 member coaches. So what that tells you is there's a lot of room for more coaches because there's a lot of people in this world. So there's a lot of space for that. Now, of those member coaches, 27,553 hold the ACC credential, 23,568 hold the PCC credential, just 2,356 of us with the MCC credentials. So that gives you an idea there. Tons of opportunity, whether it's an add-on service, a part-time business, or a full-time business. In terms of the training model itself, and I know there were questions on that as well, I come to the world of coaching from the world of training. So there are many different methodologies, and the beauty of what we do here is that we can draw on the best of the best from all of the methodologies and bring it in to developing coaches specifically. And so we call it the 3 C's. First off, we're focused on developing your competence. Very specifically, we know that everybody in the program already has strengths. They already have skills, and we're creating the synergy between what you have and bring to the table and the application of it in coaching. Very important that both the coach and the client are confident in the coach's coach, confident in the coaching process, and confident in the client in their ability to achieve what they want. So the program is going to support you with the tools for developing that confidence and keeping that at an appropriate level. It's going to help you being held as fully empowered yourself and holding clients as fully empowered, as well as increasing your awareness on how much an impact that confidence has. Coaching ultimately is about choice. So the programs are going to develop your ability to support the clients with their choice in terms of doing the discovery, strategizing, and truly being their partner as they go through that process. In terms of the programs themselves, the first program, the Certified Professional Coach. And you start with this, whichever direction or path you're going to take. We have the online classes. They are live, they're interactive. We start with the one called About Coaching. And in this class, we're going to talk about what a coach is and is not, really gain the clarity there, as well as dive into the competencies and learning about those coaching competencies. Then we have ethics. And the program on ethics, it's actually pretty fun as far as that goes. I like to say we geek out on that. And you're going to walk away with a really good understanding, because ethics for coaches go above and beyond what's normal in terms of a code of ethics. So it's really valuable to dig into that and hear different examples and scenarios. Then understanding your client. And this one's fun. We say come with a sense of humor. It's a fabulous tool, very unique and different, for how you can recognize someone's personal style and flex to them. Then we move into the class on communication, which is, again, a fabulous program. It very much gives you the techniques, the tools for the listening, the clear, direct language, and of course, how to ask questions. The class on focus and motivation is fabulous, very content heavy. It's going to give you an additional layer of working with clients. It's giving you tools to support building rapport. It's also giving you tools that support how the client defines their goals and moves toward them. Each of these classes will have an assignment after class that you'll do independently on your own. Really good learning in those assignments. Then we have a group session, truly an opportunity to ask questions, explore whatever you want to explore, go further and deeper in the conversations. The coaching practicum, very much giving you a process, giving you that foundational process that you'll in later programs learn how to flex and adjust. And you're working with the people in your class. You'll have someone you coach, someone that coaches you, someone that you observe, and you'll be doing multiple sessions. It's a really fun part of the program. At the end, there is a case study. We walk you through it start to finish and support you completing that. After you earn that initial certification, you'll have access to so many great tools. We do have a monthly Q&A call, and we provide recordings for those of you who are doing this as a business on the business of coaching and on marketing yourself as a coach. We also have recorded coaching sessions available to you. Then there's continuing education opportunities. We do promote those. You can actually see them on the website under the resources tab. The Certified Master Coach Program, again, online classes. In this case, we start with a class on group and team coaching. And the reason we start there is because you're going to be doing group coaching. It's a phenomenal experience. It's phenomenal learning. And what's so fun is people come saying, well, I never thought I was going to do that. I'm totally doing that. When you find out how valuable it is and how great the experience is. Then we move into a deeper dive in terms of your competency, exploratory conversations, looking at what not to do, what to do. We're digging into each of the competencies here, going further with it. So we talk ethics and agreements, coaching process, people in communication, creating change with confidence, all great classes. And then we do one on time and money, because just as time and money are influencing factors for enrolling in a coach training program, they're influencing factors for most decisions people are making. And it's important to recognize that and recognize there are additional influencing factors for people. We do have a debrief after you finish your coaching practicum in this program to debrief the coaching experiences you'll have. There are homework assignments. In this case, the homework's split in half. You do some before class and some after class. Then for the practicum, you'll do group coaching. That part is scheduled. You'll be a coach for one of the groups, and then you'll participate in others. You'll also have individual coaching. You'll have classmates that you're involved in interviewing, and you're involved in selecting who you want as your coach. Once you're partnered up, you'll have someone you coach, someone that coaches you, and you'll observe coaching again. The final for this program is a report where you're writing about a coaching engagement and reflecting on the learning and the insight from that coaching engagement. The Certified Advanced Coach Program, the online classes. So we start with one on competencies and strengths. You have your coaching competencies, and once you move into specializing in a particular area, there are strengths for that specific area that really make sense and are important. And you'll have a tool where once you know what your area is, it really supports you in identifying different strength areas that matter and choosing your own strategies for what you're doing in that regard. From there, we move into engaging and understanding your clients. It's different, by the way, for different types of coaching. We'll talk about the coaching relationship. Again, there will be differences depending on the type of coaching you do. Client priority management. We'll talk about the client's future and setting them up for that. And then we also have a class on challenges and trends for you as coach. There is a coaching debrief. The program, this one, has reading that you do ahead of time. We provide all the reading materials and then also homework assignments. The practicum is very much like the practicum in the other class. It does include group coaching. We do have some nuances. There are some changes to it. And then the individual coaching, same thing, similar, and there are changes to it. We're having you play with different processes and approaches. You'll have a final report you do here as well. Then the coaching experience class. This class is about practice, 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 because what we found is that's what people wanted. So we do a class to review the competencies and how you're evaluated on those competencies. We do a webinar setting up group and team coaching, and we're actually going through the team coaching competencies there. You'll have your group coaching sessions, your individual coaching sessions, and then a webinar debriefing the coaching experience. The mentor coaching that we do, we start with 5 90-minute group sessions. During these sessions, we're talking about the competencies, how they're applied, and literally practicing applying those competencies in mini coaching sessions. You also will have 3 individual sessions. Included in that, we do a 360 of your coaching competencies. We also review your recordings so that you can pass the assessing and talk about those PCC markers, which are the specific behaviors that get evaluated to determine competency. What's included with programs? All of the class materials are included. We give you a login page on the website where you can access even more materials after you graduate. We have an assessment dashboard that we give you, and that is yours for life. A lot of opportunities that we work to create. So we invite you to be a guest blogger on our website, to guest present if you want to do a webinar, to get published, be a guest on the podcast as well. We have an online searchable directory you can list yourself in called Find a Certified Coach. And we also have a coaching firm where we place coaches in organizations working with clients. And if you want to be part of that, you have that option too. All right, what's next for you? First off, I mentioned at the beginning that I had something at the end. Here it is. You've invested your time here researching, checking this out, so I want to give back to you. I am going to put the recording of this program on YouTube, and then I'm going to email everyone who registered a link to the recording. Respond to that email and let me know if you want that free 30-minute session. Just let me know. I'll send you a link to my calendar and you can pick a time. The application for the programs itself is free. It's great to have you go through and check the boxes on, yeah, I do qualify for the program. You'll see that. And then also to write on paper your interest in coach training is a great way to think on paper. And it gives us a chance to get to know you because you're putting in some information about you. And as trainers, we definitely want to get to know you. Then to hold your place in a class, the schedule pages are on the website. Look at the schedule pages, choose which one you want, and you hold your place by submitting the registration payment. So that's available. And yeah, actually, I'm seeing a question. Okay, so let me wrap up with the last slide, and then I'm going to take a moment. We'll have a few minutes, and we'll go look at the website together, and I'll show you how to navigate a few things so you'll be able to see it. Okay, so I do want to say thank you to everybody here. I appreciate your time, your interest in the program. Love having you here, and hopefully this has been helpful in terms of answering all of your questions. Very much want to be available to you if you're interested in learning more. So what I'm going to do right now is close out the presentation, and then I'm going to bring up the website. So if you'll kindly give me just a moment to get that on the screen, what we can do is look at how to navigate and find everything. Hopefully it's pretty simple. So on the website, a couple of things. At the beginning of the conversation, I mentioned that the infographics that we looked at were available on the website. If you go to the home page and click the green button that says how to become a coach, you'll be able to go to the page that has these infographics. So it's got the steps with the requirements for each level of credentialing. It's also got all of the information here in terms of the programs, what the journey looks like with the Center for Coaching certification. And it's got the grid with all the different price points as well. Then in terms of finding a class, on the coach training menu, if you put your cursor over those words, it gives you the drop down. Then put your cursor over level 1 and level 2 credentialing cohorts. The level 1 foundational cohort overview is here. And then you have the schedule available to you here. For the level 2 advanced cohort, for the PCC, the overview is available here. And then the schedule is available to you here. If you decide you're interested in partial hours, the a la carte approach, when you come to this page, the overview of each program is listed here, and you can just click the tab. In addition to that, for the schedules, you just click on the schedule page, and you can click on each program, and you'll see the schedule for that individual program. So all of that's available to you. You can just go investigate it, check it out. If you're interested in some of the other resources that are available, lots of information available for you here. Do come visit the website, take some time, poke around, check it out. It's www.coachcert.com. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And thank you for your comments in the chat box. I appreciate that. I'm really glad this was helpful and got your questions answered. And we look forward to connecting with you further. Take care.